Emily and I play this world-famous game known as Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. They're both very similar. Usually, I like to progress along the main storyline. I like to fight the bad guys. I like to conquer the evil and save the world. Emily, she likes the slow path. She'll be walking and then she'll see some grass. She's like, I wonder if there's any bugs in the grass. And she'll go cut it. And then she'll see a bug and then she'll run after it and catch it. Or like at night, there'll be like a firefly, like a sunset firefly is what it's called. And she's going to like crawl over there agonizingly slowly in order to catch it.
To catch the firefly.
She wants to get all the outfits. She wants to explore every nook and cranny of everything. In the video game world, that's simply a difference in play style. It's fine. It's not what I'm going to do. I'm not patient enough for that. But that's what she does. And in a way, I respect it. She's that 100% the game kind of person.
Yeah.
I'm the finish the main quest and be done kind of person. However, in real life, losing focus on the main objective is a little bit more serious than it is in a video game.
It's a problem.
For example, if you're driving and you notice there's a smudge on the windshield and you start to reach over to try and get the smudge.
Yeah.
And then your car starts swerving. Losing focus can be a little dangerous.
Yeah, you don't know till you hear that side of the road, that da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and you're like, oh. And then other cars pass you and you try and look cool. I meant to do that.
Yeah. I'm just chilling.
Yep.
But it's that classic thing of getting so caught up in the details that you'll miss the big picture.
Yeah.
Everybody has this problem from time to time. But the consequences of it can be serious when it's real life, when we're not playing a video game. So when it comes to our health, it's easy to get focused on the little stuff.
Yeah.
The tip and the trick. Like studies have shown that blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know, like studies have shown that if you punch yourself 3 times before you go to bed, you're going to wake up with abs the next day.
And then 2 weeks later, there's another study showing that if you punch yourself that many times, you're going to kill yourself and die. You know, it's every study hurts the other study, it seems.
It's absolutely true. So we get so focused on the little nitty gritty details, we miss the big picture. And there's a great quote by I believe he's a biologist, like
he's
a professional.
He's a nutritional scientist, doctor of nutritional scientist, and a power lifter.
Yep. His name's Layne Norton.
Layne Norton.
Hit him with the quote, Dad.
Yeah, this was his quote. We saw it on X and we thought, this is so good, we need to share it. He says this, he says, stop stressing over every single health topic. The majority of optimal health can be achieved through regular exercise, controlling calories, eating enough protein and fiber, psychological stress management, adequate sleep, and don't smoke or drink. And he says this, the amount of stress you spend on individual ingredients in food, meal timing, fasting windows, fad diets, special exercises, etc., is killing you faster than getting the small things wrong. I thought it was such a great quote. I've kept it just because to me it just makes so much sense.
Yeah, and implementing those basic things, what is that, like 6 things?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a huge list. It is 6 things. If you have those pillars, you're pretty much going to be good.
Yeah.
That's almost the big picture stuff of health.
Yep,
We're looking, and that's what we want to help you with. We want you to accomplish the main objective. The reason we called this series Beachbody is because that's what people focus on.
Yeah.
However, we got to zoom out.
Yeah.
It's not just about the 6-pack. It's about being a healthy person. That's what we're talking about. And the first thing we're talking about today is the first of those 6 principles, movement. We're going to discuss why our culture is in a pretty dire place when it comes to movement.
We're not good.
And some of the reasons behind that.
This is the Thriving Man Podcast with David and Reese Maxwell. These weekly shows are designed to help you remove the confusion from your life and make real progress with your growth. No matter where you are or where you're going, we're here to help you live a life you can be proud of. So welcome to the Thriving Man Podcast.
Welcome to the Thriving Man Podcast, where we help you get out of survivor mode and start living a life you can be proud of. I'm Reese.
And I'm David.
And today we are discussing one of the most important things for a beach-ready body.
Yeah.
Movement.
That's right.
So once again, like we said in the intro, this is about long-term solutions, not
It
quick
is.
fixes. We don't want you to be one of those people that's stuck in the cycle of, during the summer I look all right, but then the fall comes and the holidays hit and I'm fat.
Yeah.
And then in January I beat myself up for a month or two and then quit again. And then maybe in April I'll start to get my crap together and then be okay. Like that cycle is just not a fun thing to go through.
Well, it's usually not healthy because what a lot of people do is they do some kind of short-term fix to lose weight, and then they gain it all back, and then they do a short-term fix, and that just jacks your body up when you're doing that over and over again.
Yeah, and you're missing the main focus. You may, even if you get the six pack,
Yeah.
that's a small detail compared to the fact that you are not living a healthy life.
Yeah, and a healthy life, just you feel better. You have more energy. You enjoy life more when you're just healthier. There's no doubt.
Yeah. So movement is the first pillar we're talking about to being healthy. Movement is the first pillar to looking the way you want to look, but
Yeah.
also feeling the way that you honestly should feel.
Yeah.
Because we were built to move.
Yeah,
It's a
That's
good
a good
book.
one.
It's a fantastic book.
it's a great book.
So let's start, beach ready is where we want to get. Sedentary is where most of our society is.
Yeah.
We live in a sedentary society. What does that mean? Movement
Yeah.
is not really a thing.
No, I mean, most of us, we sit in front of computers all day. Almost any job, no matter what it is, you're going to have a computer. Or even if you have a job that move around, now that a lot of people are carrying big iPads or their phones and they're just standing there, putting numbers in, doing something. Or even people who have a job where they're moving, a lot of it's driving. So you're driving for hours, doing something, and then driving hours again and doing something. And I think that's something that we have to understand. You can't really change that aspect of society. It is what it is. We all have computers. We all have these jobs that we have to do. But what we can do is think about, okay, what can I do to be different? What can I do to not be sedentary all the time?
Yeah. And I think the first thing that has led to this sedentariness, because the truth is how we're defining sedentary is you do not move very much at all. It is a lack of walking, a lack of lifting, a lack of strain on your body, which sounds like it'd be a good thing.
Yeah.
Is definitely not a good thing.
No,
And I'm sure we're
not
going
at
to talk
all.
about that a little bit later. But the first kind of cause that has hit us to create this sedentary society is the norm of sitting all the time.
We are sitting all the time. And just like the other day, I had a couple of appointments. I had to go meet with people, and it involved a lot of driving. So by the end of the day, I had done about 6 hours of driving. And then in the meetings with the people, I sat in those meetings. So when I got home, I was jacked up. My legs it was just weird because in the car, even the last couple hours, I was doing all kinds of things. You ever done that where you like move your leg, you put it up in almost Indian style one leg, and that cruise control is the only way that you can do that.
Yeah.
And I do the other one, or you
Confessions
kind
of a long driver.
yeah.
I do Indian style. If something happens, we're not. It's not gonna be
Well,
good.
no, I leave one leg down. I only do one at a time.
You got the backup leg.
Yeah, I have the backup just in case. But I mean, you got to do something, or you just go crazy sitting in the car because you want to get home, but you also want to move around. And a lot of people, that's their whole job all the time. For me, it was one day, but a lot of people, that's their job all day. They're sitting at a desk, writing, typing, talking on the phone, hour after hour.
Yeah. And a lot of times when you're in that environment, those places require you to be sitting there working most of the time.
Yeah,
So like, for example, my job usually has me in front of a computer.
yeah,
However, I also have a certain degree of freedom to like if I need to walk around, stretch my legs, nobody's going to yell at me.
yeah,
That's not everybody.
yeah,
Some people literally like if you're taking calls, like if you work at a call center, you have to be sitting there taking
Yeah.
calls all the time. That's what
Yeah.
you are getting paid to do.
it's true.
And so a lot of people are not only in that environment, they're forced to stay in that environment. And we've got to acknowledge that because
Yeah.
that's part of the reason that we've ended up where we're at.
Well, and the danger with that is we have a long day at work, and then we get home and we're tired. So what do? We sit some more. And a lot of times we sit with our feet propped up. You got the recliner.
Of course.
You got the
Luxury, lazy
75-inch TV.
Yeah.
And you don't have to move. And again, you're doing the same thing at work, but you just said, well, I'm home now, so this is my time.
Mm-hmm.
You're still sitting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that sitting is bad. There's nothing wrong with sitting. You just have to recognize that you're getting more and more sedentary. You're getting to where you're used to not doing it. And I think that's unhealthy for us.
It is. It is. Like, we're not saying that sitting is evil. We're not like, you should never sit down. But it's the classic thing with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Too much of anything is not good.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have too much water.
Mm-hmm.
That's possible. Like,
Yeah.
and if you can have too many vegetables, like you can overindulge on anything.
Mm-hmm.
And in our society, we have really overindulged in sitting.
Yeah.
And not just sitting, but sitting at a 90-degree angle,
Mm-hmm.
which there's a lot of reasons why that can be negative.
Yeah.
For example, your hip flexors
Yeah.
get really tight.
They do.
Your hamstrings are going to get tight. All the muscles in your legs. Whenever you sit, typically you're going to hunch.
Yeah.
Especially when you're over like a laptop.
Yeah, computer.
Yeah. Like, you're just, that's more comfortable.
Or they have that, what is the thing now? You get phone neck, where people are doing this with their phone.
Yeah, the nerd
They
neck.
get the nerd neck. That's what it is.
Yeah. And that's common because
Mm-hmm.
there's this C shape that your body gets into, to where instead of being straight, you're leaned forward.
Yeah.
And as you continue to do that, everything up front, like your pecs and everything, gets tighter,
Yeah.
and everything in your back gets stretched and gets looser.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll just keep going. Like, this is sad. I've seen older people
Mm-hmm.
who lived that way, and they're literally bent over, almost
true.
looking at the ground.
Yeah.
And now there's some medical stuff that plays into that as well.
Yeah.
However, like, nobody was born that way.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a
I'll
good
say this.
point.
Most people weren't born that way. It's just over the decades, you started here, you leaned over a little bit more, you leaned over a little bit more. And after 40, 50 years
Yeah.
of that,
Yeah.
you're practically looking at the ground.
Yeah.
And that's nobody wants to end up there.
Well, and we get used to doing little.
Mm-hmm.
We get used to everything kind of being easy for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever exertion happens, or, I've got to walk, we it kind of moves us into that laziness side of us. And, you can't be lazy and have a beach ready body.
No.
You just can't. It's
No.
not going to happen.
No, and with like the long-term game, the whole, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's true with your abilities. And there's a lot of people that, like you said, it's almost a self-defeating cycle,
Yeah.
because you don't walk any. So you don't build up the resilience to walk. So
Yeah.
walking gets harder.
Yeah.
So you sit more. So everything gets tighter. And then it gets more difficult. And then you don't like it more.
Yeah.
And then you develop, like, let's say, a knee issue or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want that for you. We don't want that for anybody. So yes, it helps you lose weight, but it also helps you long-term be a healthy person.
Yeah.
So the sitting issue, we got to address.
Yeah, you do.
There's a book about it called Built to Move. You can go read it
One
if
of our
you're
favorites.
really interested in that topic. Fantastic book. But basically, their big thing about sitting, you shouldn't be sitting more than 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
And if you actually keep track, you probably are.
Yeah.
Like, you sound like, oh no, I'm not sitting more than 6 hours a day. Yeah, unless you're very intentional about standing and moving around or having a standing desk or something.
Yeah.
You're sitting more than 6 hours a day.
Well, even if, let's say you come home and watch one show at night or a movie, you're talking hour to hour and a half to 2 hours. And that's just at home. And then if you have a desk job or you drive a lot, it's easy to hit 6 hours.
And every time you do that, it's easy for not moving
Yeah, it does.
to become the case.
It's true.
So sitting is the first thing we have to recognize that we have to face. In order to build up a good movement habit that'll get you to a beach-ready body, sitting has to be tamed in a way.
Yeah.
2, our society naturally lives in a watching. Like, we naturally are spectators
Yeah.
rather than actively involved in things.
Yeah.
Like, typically. Now, some people are an exception. Congratulations. You're already on a good path in that way. But we literally have some of the most famous YouTube channels in the world are where you watch someone else play video games.
Yeah, and it's so funny how we watch other people do things
that we want to do.
that we want to do, but we don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, we're watching people work out. We're watching people at the gym.
Travel.
You know, yeah, watching
Hike.
people travel. Do it yourself. I mean, good golly, people watch people change their house around all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so funny how we're doing all this watching, but we don't do it. Like we have food shows like crazy, but less people are cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Why should I cook? I can watch someone cook. I can have food delivered to me that someone else made and eat it while I'm watching someone else cook a meal and go, oh, that looks good. It's just crazy how we get like that.
No, it's true. And when you get caught in the spectator world, you're not going to move much.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
you've never seen somebody watching somebody else play video games while they're running, you know, or while they're doing something productive. Usually they're just sitting.
Yeah.
And once again, we're not saying that watching other people do stuff is evil.
Yeah.
We're just saying that if you stay in the mode of observation, you will never move to a state of action.
Well, and sometimes we get into this thing where, well, that person's an expert. So we don't try the thing because we think, well, I can't do it like them. Well, they haven't always been an expert. They worked up to that. And maybe we let them motivate us. Maybe we learn some lessons from them. And a lot of people with the YouTubes and all the other stuff, they'll teach you how to be like them, essentially. And that's not bad. But what you don't want to do is let it discourage you to where, well, I can't cook like Gordon Ramsay. Well, Gordon couldn't cook like Gordon Ramsay when he started. He had to start somewhere, and you do too. We all do.
Yeah. So don't let that perfectionism keep you from taking action.
Yeah.
I think a great example of this is the armchair quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who thinks that he just knows all the rules to the game and he would be the best coach in the world, but has never coached a single person.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we don't want to fall into that trap, because when you fall into that trap, sedentary is just how it goes.
Well, look at our society with social media and everything. Everybody's becoming an armchair quarterback. They can go into the comment section and become a comment warrior.
That's a good point. I've never thought about that.
Yeah. We're sitting there telling everybody, oh, you shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that. I saw Lindsay Sterling. She plays violin and dances and stuff. And she brought out just recently that people have been getting into her comments talking about how old she looks. And it's like, what? And she said it made her very self-conscious. And she had to do a turnaround. And instead of going, well, I need to put a filter on or do this, she went the opposite way and said, hey, this is who I am, which I thought was very brave and awesome of her. Because we let the armchair quarterback sometimes influence us. And can you imagine a real armchair quarterback who thinks he knows better than a guy playing in the NFL, a guy who's getting paid $20 million a year? And the guy in the chair at home with the beer in his hand thinks, I could do better. No, you'd pee on yourself if you're out there. If you had 350-pound linemen coming at you with that kind of speed, I would just run or I would fall in the fetal position. I'm not going to try to be a quarterback in the NFL.
I feel that.
But a lot of us do that with everything in life. I could do it better than anyone else. And we're just armchair quarterbacking everything.
The whole point of why this is so dangerous is if you only observe, you can't get active and engage.
Yep.
And real life, if you want to get towards a beach-ready body, you got to engage.
You got to.
And not only get engaged, but stay engaged. You have to continually work at it.
Yeah.
You have to continually, with exercise, the whole point of exercise is that it's never easy. If you go to the gym and you have the easiest time, you never lift anything that's that heavy.
Yeah.
You never move that much to where you feel uncomfortable. You're missing part of the point. Like that's level one, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
To where like, if you want to get beach ready body, you're going to have to hit it up a notch. Things being difficult doesn't make them bad.
That's good.
In fact, things being difficult in many ways is good for us. We're not saying to be stupid and purposefully make things difficult. Life's already difficult enough, naturally.
Yeah. Well, and you build up, just like your muscles build up with resistance, everything has resistance. But as you overcome the resistance, you find yourself getting stronger. Just like lifting weights. You might not could do one pull-up, but if you work on it, eventually You might could do 5 pull-ups. That's because you've gotten stronger. And I think life does that. But sometimes we think, well, I don't want to do the effort. But there's no gain without effort. Just like we don't make money. Money just doesn't fall from the sky. You've got to work to make money. If you want to be healthy, it's going to take work. And just sitting back and giving the excuses, saying why you can't do it, that's getting into that armchair quarterback thing where you're just really sitting in a chair and not doing anything.
Yeah. So we have to get engaged. And our society naturally just watches others be engaged.
Yeah.
So we've got to enter the fray. We got to enter the fight. We got to, get to the front lines of our own life. If we don't do that, we can never get to a beach ready body. And if you start doing that, you will be part of the minority. So just be ready for that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people might even respect you for it, but they won't join you. A lot of people will be like, man, that's great that you're going to the gym for an hour a day. And you can say, hey, you want to join me? You can be my guest because I've got a black card pass to Planet Fitness. And they'll be like, no. I got stuff, and they'll come up with a great reason to not do anything.
I got to watch my show.
Yeah. So there is some natural isolation, but it's because you are rising above the norm, and that's okay. Another norm.
Yeah.
We've coined the term trained sedation.
Yeah.
Explain that a little bit.
Trained sedation is, for a lot of us growing up, we lived in a world where we were encouraged to not do a whole lot. We were encouraged through having computers, gaming systems, then phones, and all these things.
Television.
Yeah, everything was given to us. You could sit and watch something all day. And they wanted you to because you got to watch commercials. You could sit online and play games all day. You could sit on your phone and doom scroll all day. Those companies want you to do that because that's how they make money. And okay, they have a right to do that. That's fine. But most of us, we've been trained through that to sit and receive images instead of creating those things, making them happen. And a lot of times we never got past just being bored.
That's so true.
And I think it's dangerous for kids to have never experienced boredom because then they think life is supposed to entertain me. And I think it takes away their own creativity to where when they're bored, a lot of times that's when you come up with stuff. That's when your creativity starts taking over. But when all you do is receive images, you're like, oh, it's slow. Let me get some more. It's almost like having those dopamine hits becomes the purpose of your life.
Right. And it doesn't develop you in the same way. I'll give you an example. If you drive 5 miles, very little effort, but also very little change for you. If you run 5 miles, that takes a ton of effort, but you're going to develop from doing that every day. Driving 5 miles doesn't change you much. And it's kind of the same way with the sedentariness of our society. It's very easy. It's so easy to just sit there and scroll. It is. And we are telling you that is, if you're going to get that beach ready body, if you are going to live a healthy life, you have to be willing to go against the grain of what's easy. Because our society has made it easier. Television's made it easier. And in some ways we do it to ourselves. Like even before phones, before social media, I think Atomic Habits, James Clear brought this up. He said, a lot of times we design our living room around a TV.
We do.
So your environment that you've designed has made what's the number one easiest thing to do when you go into your living room? Watch TV.
Watch TV. It's true.
And like we have our phones on us all the time. I think Apple and all the social media companies love that.
Oh, yeah.
They wouldn't have it any other way. Because the easiest thing for you to do is pull this out and just look.
Pull it out and keep going and
get caught in it.
It's that path of least resistance. And it's easy to go down that path. And we've got to be careful that we don't let that path control us. Nothing wrong with those things. You can use them, I like watching anime, but I can't watch anime all the time. There's just no way. Is there more anime out there than I could ever watch? Yes.
Yep.
Just in one show, One Piece. I'll probably never get caught up in One Piece. It's over 1,000 shows. In order to get caught up, it would take me years at the rate I watch.
Yeah.
And she'll try to watch any other new things, like the new season of Slime. But anyway, it's one of those things that I think we have to be careful of. Okay, I'm spending too much time on this. Okay, how much time? And it's amazing. Like if you've ever wondered how much time you spend scrolling, set a timer or put on a
Screen
stopwatch.
time.
Yeah.
Screen time will tell you.
Screen time will tell you, huge. But even the short thing in one day, and you're just like, oh, that's a lot of time.
And then what we have done, and this is our whole world does this, our whole nation does this. We've almost systematically deceived ourselves because we're like, oh, I don't have time to work out.
Yeah.
I don't have time to go on a walk. Are you telling me that I have to
great
work
point.
out for 45 minutes a day?
Yeah.
Are you crazy? I don't have time to do anything. Look at your screen time.
Yep.
See how long you've spent on just your phone. That's not including your laptop. That's not including the TV. That's not including any other piece of technology except for just the phone. And if you're like me, you'll see.
Oh, yeah.
You got time.
Oh, it's hours.
You're just giving it away. And so what we're saying is that is the norm. We're not trying to make you feel like an idiot. We're saying that this is the world we live in.
Yeah.
And it's not going to change. If anything, with like the new the new virtual reality headsets, it's probably going to get more extreme.
Yeah, it will.
To where like, oh, now it's not just in your pocket. It's on your face.
Yeah, it'll be Ready
all
Player
the time.
One, like so quick.
It will. But if we are constantly doing those entertainments and we're constantly training ourselves to stay there, it's almost like just eating junk food.
Yeah.
Yes, it tastes good. Yes, it's easy to do, but it doesn't actually nurture you. And what we're saying is this is physically, but this is also mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of which, the final thing we wanted to observe for you guys is this mental fatigue that our world lives in. Explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, the mental fatigue is a lot of us, we come home from work and we've been working, but a lot of the work today is very mental. You're using your mind, you're on a computer, you're doing these things, so you're mentally fatigued at the end of the day. And so a lot of us think, well, I'm tired, so then we just do nothing more. I'm just going to sit and veg. And sometimes you need that. But a lot of times our bodies need something. They haven't done anything all day. So we're not physically fatigued. And then we have people who have trouble sleeping. We have people struggling just to do normal basic things physically. And they say, well, I feel tired all the time. Well, you're confusing mental tiredness with physical tiredness. And a lot of times, if you do something physical, it will actually refresh you mentally.
At 100%.
Yeah, if you go for a walk, especially a walk in sunlight, a lot of times you'll get refreshed and, okay, I've got some energy for the evening or things like that. So we want to be careful that we're not confusing, that mental fatigue with physical fatigue, because I think our society has confused that a lot today.
They have. If it's the whole, I feel tired.
Yeah, that's it.
I feel tired, so I'm going to lay down. The issue is a lot of times when you feel tired, it's that mental, emotional side. Yeah. And I have found this for myself, that when I go just on a simple walk, sometimes with headphones, sometimes with nothing, it's nice.
Yeah.
If you get that book, Built to Move, it talks about the benefits of walking. It has anti-inflammatory properties for your body. It helps things hurt less. But then also, too, your brain activity. They did scans of brains for people who didn't walk and then walked after 30 minutes. The movement in their brain went up 20-something%. I don't remember the exact percentage, but it was in the 20s. And it's that simple. Like, get out and walk. It may not be easy.
Yeah.
But you will like it. Like it can almost be an alternative to coffee. I've had it before where I've been just zoned out while I was at my computer. There's nothing going on up here.
Yeah.
And I'll go for a walk, like a 5-10 minute walk. And that's something that simple. I'll get back in and I'm ready to go.
And you're ready to go. And that's the whole thing. We have to be careful that we're not letting that mental fatigue kind of cut us off and keep us from doing something physical. And a lot of times the physical thing will actually help us. Like you said, it helps our brain activity, but also it helps you sleep better at night, which means the next day you'll have more computing power in your own brain because you actually got deep sleep because that exercise helps you sleep. Some people have trouble falling asleep. Well, if you start getting more movement in your life, it's a lot easier to fall asleep at night.
Yeah. So what we're pointing out here in this episode to you, these are some of the obstacles you're going to face. Every single one of those main things we talked about, whether it's the mental fatigue or whether it's the fact that we've kind of been trained to be sedentary, the sitting issue, all of these are realities that you will have to deal with because we live in 21st century America. These are things that will have to be overcome in order to be able to live a life that you want to and look the way you want to. So what we're going to be talking about next session is we're going to be covering how do we get there? How do we develop these strategies? How do we stick to these strategies and begin to live that life where we can not just be proud of the way we look, we can be happy with the way we feel.
Yeah.
We can be, honestly, even an inspiration to other people who are trapped inside that same lifestyle. Maybe your story of being transformed or going to the next level can help somebody take their own next step.
Yeah.
So the whole point of this is, yes, it's a battle that's uphill, but it is a battle that is worth it. We have to acknowledge the advantages of an enemy before we can conquer.
Yes.
And it's the same way with exercise. Like, you have to acknowledge what you're facing in order to overcome it. So we've covered some of those things. Maybe think to yourself, which of these has me down the worst? Do I sit all the time? Or am I spending 6 hours on TikTok every day?
Yeah.
Whatever those things may be for you, so that we can systematically not only add good habits, but maybe take away some of the bad habits that are continuing the negatives in our life.
Yeah.
That's how we get to a beach-ready body. We'll be talking with you guys about those strategies in the next episode. See you then.
Thanks for listening to the Thriving Man Podcast. If you want to check out more resources from David and Reese, you can go to thrivingman.com. We'll see you in the next episode.